a little bit more expertise than I can here, but it's the collateral damage, I think, is still not, we're not able to kind of quantify it yet.
Mr. Mind Your Biz, is that how I call you, sir?
I answered to many names, but yes, Mr. Mind Your Biz works great. So,
Mr. Mind Your Biz, yeah.
But I apologize. I had a little bit of a tricky intro there with the with Twitter Spaces. Sometimes using a headset will kind of throw it. So I missed the first part of that question from our co-host 0x Brandon.
Just, what's your thoughts on, how about give a quick intro on yourself if you would like to, and if not, you can just give your thoughts on Tornado Cash.
Sure. Well, hey, I appreciate the opportunity to self-promote a little bit. My name is Seth. I go by the pseudonym Mind Your Biz, and today, in honor of our what I consider fallen hero, Tornado Cash, I've changed my profile name to Mind Your Biznado Cash.
Wow.
I think it's truly tragic. I really do. I think that the U.S. Treasury Department and and specifically their division OFAC that placed Tornado Cash and so many addresses on this special list, right, of non-human entities that should be sanctioned. I think that this is a mistake. I think that that the privacy that they offered before, I think that it was essential for a lot of users of Ethereum and the various tokens, right, that run on Tornado Cash, but then also the other EVM style chains that Tornado Cash supports, your Avalanche and Phantom, or Solana, or sorry, not Solana, but Polygon and Binance Smart Chain. So these other EVMs that were affected by it, I think that there are going to be ripple effects in the business model of a lot of groups, DAOs, and even some play-to-earn games and and treasuries that previously relied on Tornado Cash to keep their payroll in check and not be anti-competitive with other groups that are in the space trying to keep their books private. So yeah, I think it's the net negative overall.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about keeping the books private. I definitely know the whole if you want to fund a wallet and you don't want to tie it back to yourself, or if you want to do an NFT floor sweep without kind of drawing attention to it. I've heard of those strategies for Tornado Cash, and I do think it's valid because we have so many on-chain sleuths and so many just on-chain bots in general that will catch a lot of these big moves for these bigger players. I understand the need for it, but yeah, that is a good point about accounting for kind of crypto companies in general and how they kind of keep that competitive as well.
For people who don't know, can one of you break down what Tornado Cash is?
Yeah, sure. Brandon, I'll take the first stab at this, and if you don't mind, just fill in any gaps that I maybe leave. I'll try to be thorough. Just really briefly, high level overview here, though. Tornado Cash it boils down to just a series of smart contracts on the Ethereum virtual machine, which is why it's so ludicrous that the U.S. Treasury Department has sanctioned them, right? Because they are smart contracts. It's essentially like trying to outlaw, a custom script that you might use to defragment your hard drive, right, on an old Windows machine because, you don't like the way defragmented hard drives aid in crime, I guess. But the bottom line is it's code. These are smart contracts. And these smart contracts allow you to use the same privacy technology that Zcash uses, right? Ed Snowden, big fan of Zcash. He's a big fan of the technology that Tornado Cash uses. But Tornado Cash allows for the same level of privacy that Zcash offers, but on Ethereum, USDC, USDT, DAI, and even wrapped Bitcoin. And then a few other sort of sister chains, right? Chains that are created with very similar DNA, right? EVM chains like Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, Avalanche, they can use Tornado Cash as well. And previously they used to have to fork these scripts, right? These smart contracts. Now Tornado Cash supports them directly, or did recently supported them directly, so that level of privacy, right? The Zcash level of privacy was available to any of those chains for their main utility token as well. But it allows for putting an amount of either Ethereum or one of those stables mentioned before, tokens mentioned before, into the smart contract, allowing it to sort of simmer, right, in a pool of transactions, or locked up in that smart contract, and then sort of blend in with a number of other transactions that are using this this cryptographic privacy technology, and then essentially giving somebody a special key to remove those funds later on to any wallet they choose. So on the receiving side, the on-chain link is severed. Nobody knows where those funds came from, and the entire ledger is just restructured around a new, fresh account on Ethereum. But anyway, that's kind of a long-winded way.
So if I tried to condense it, stablecoins go into a smart contract where there's a pool and it obscures transaction history.
Close. It does something even more complex than it being in a pool of other coins, though. Because previous privacy technologies, like even Monero to a lesser extent, but CoinJoin, Whirlpool on Samurai Wallet for Bitcoin, they do mix your coins with other coins. Tornado Cash just creates a cryptographic privacy layer that severs the transaction history, so nobody knows where they came from. So if, for example, we'll use the example of a bakery that wants to send 1 ETH to their friend, the candlestick maker. They can run that through Tornado Cash, and nobody would know that those coins, they haven't been mixed with other people's coins technically. Those coins, they wouldn't know that they came from the baker. They would just see that they appeared in the candlestick maker's wallet.
Yeah. And I think that's the part that attracts regulators, is the ability to do illicit things with that. Obviously, you can do illicit things with cash and other forms of money, and most of the illicit things on the world are done with USD fiat anyway. But this is just very trackable for them, and it's one of those things where it was instead of using some brain power to find thoughtful regulation, the U.S. basically just made it illegal to interact with that sanctioned contract, which is causing all of this exit for the door, basically. It's causing either institutions or big investors who are trying to be legit and pay their taxes like normal crypto investors do. It causes them to get very fearful. And I think, you did a great job at explaining it. I couldn't even do it better myself, to be honest with you. But I just think that's the sucky part is, there are so many use cases for a privacy-based service like this, and the one that is focused on is the one that is the biggest thing that gets it on the sanctions list. And it's just very hypocritical, in my opinion.
Oh, hot take.
Yeah, if I can add a little, we'll throw a little more fuel to that fire for the hot take. So my day job, I do consulting for Web3 oriented marketing, for crypto marketing in general. And we work with a bunch of different clients, and we feel like there's an extremely important use case for us in that we accept funding primarily in cryptocurrencies, and then we pay our vendors in cryptocurrencies. It is a competitive disadvantage for us. That's why it was the first example that I used, but it's a competitive disadvantage for us, for anybody else who does Web3 marketing, to see the amounts that we work with and to see who we pay and to see the amounts that we pay.
Interesting. What do you see in the Web3 marketing field? How does it look like in the future? How does it look like now?
Oh my gosh. Now, now, because we work with traditional corporate structures, and like Xerox Brandon was saying, we are a registered corporation. We have the intention to pay our taxes, right, and do things above board. So we don't have a problem with just using, say, an exchange to do these things. But it's that was the old school sort of crypto privacy approach, was to run through, air quotes, mix through an exchange, right? Like, have their centralized order book be the means of mixing your coins with a bunch of other people's coins. So we're going to be able to maintain some privacy that way. But we had a full system in place to maintain compliance too, even using Tornado Cash. So it's a tragedy that we couldn't just use that method and keep everything just on chain and sovereign.
Yeah. And on the point of centralized mixing, we do have a lurker in here, Mr. Jesse Powell, the CEO of Kraken. A lot of times they're kind of banking on the fact that you're going to go to a centralized exchange to obfuscate that, because technically for legitimate DeFi users who pay their taxes, that's the one way out they're giving you, and then they can just subpoena the exchanges, basically. And I think that's like the trump card that they have. is you're regulating in the United States, we're going to have to subpoena you for that information. And although it's still kind of doing the same thing on chain, which is mixing and not showing like the on chain sleuths what's happening, there is still a party who can be very persuaded by the government that knows the information you're trying to obfuscate, basically.
Very interesting. What about the marketing itself? How do you market Web3 things?
Oh, I mean, how do you market anything, right? Tell
That's
a
the
fill
answer
in
I
the
want.
blank, right? Like, yeah, yeah. You take it to the streets. You put in little baggies. Charge people $5. It's great. No, just kidding. That is not how
But
Web3 is marketed.
okay, my opinion, but I've said this multiple times as a marketing nerd, that most of Web3 marketing is just traditional digital marketing. And there's a few different new channels and new technology that is marketing. Would you disagree with that or agree with that?
Oh, agree 100%. Definitely,
Yeah.
yeah. Definitely, as you get at the top of the funnel, it's exactly the same as all digital marketing. It's at the end of the funnel in Web3 that things start to look significantly different, including things like tracking conversions, right? Like, how do you ensure that your marketing efforts relate directly to on-chain activity, right? So that is where we have some fun and unique challenges, and where we offer some value.
Is there anything that is not you specific? So, like, is there a general way that you've seen on-chain analytics to, I don't know, track conversions for marketing, or is that secret sauce?
I mean, you asked the question before, and as well as I do, very little secret sauce out there. For the benefit of the audience, I'll just say, like, it's a combination of old and new, right? So have your tracking pixels fire, but know that because crypto people are paranoid AF, they're going to have ad block, so your stuff won't fire, right? First off, like you're going to have some of those links broken between seeing where your conversions actually happen. So wind up setting up microsites, right? And just knowing that the on-chain activity will be triggered by smart contracts that link to specific microsites. So, but yeah, what's old is
Very
new again,
fun.
man.
Very fun. Do you have a vision for what it might be in the future? In my head, this is less Web3 related, but it might mix in. You have personalized ads as you're walking out in the world, and it's more XR based. So you see a billboard and you see something that is very your identity marketed toward.
What is this, the Matrix, Ricker? We don't
Yes,
want
it is
this.
precisely that.
We don't
But
want that, though. We want
well,
something where I have to consent via my MetaMask
and
wallet
most
to have my
people and
data.
most people probably will.
Exactly. And then
Because
you also, I think it's going to put a focus on product building, because you're going to actually have to have a good product instead of a product that's just addicted to giving you dopamine to
yeah,
keep you on platform.
it'll be product ecosystems that people are more likely to be advertised. Like Brave does it, where I'm pretty okay with getting a Brave advertisement because one, I have an incentive, and that's kind of dopamine. But two, they've like asked me, and they're like, "Hey, you get stuff," and I'm like, "Okay, I like that, and it's some cool wallet, and it'll probably help me." And I think in the future, the marketing will be more AR, XR based, and a lot more people will be at this point intrigued to accept advertisements from a product that they enjoy, rather than now it's a little jarring to accept advertisements.
Yeah, I agree with
Agree,
that to a large extent.
disagree?
Yeah, yeah, I agree
Yeah.
to some extent that there's going to be quite a bit. I mean, product placement is also the oldest trick in the book, right? To try to get people to accept something new or take a risk on something. And that product placement, like sell softer, right? So maybe in those AR experiences, we'll just notice that we start to see certain brands and certain elements just present. So I mean, again, Xerox Brandon brought him up in honor of a couple of our guests. We see some brands here, right? Some exchange brands and some other crypto brands. But so imagine that your brand is showing up on the most widely circulated virtual T-shirt for all the characters in a given metaverse, right? Or as an AR, as a piece of AR clothing, right? People can just change their T-shirts into your logo. that could be something that that's enticing both to brands and that is a little less obtrusive to users of those platforms. So, but yeah, the opportunities are pretty awesome for AR. Our firm, we I obviously can't talk about clients, but we had a pitch recently where we talked about doing an AR overlay of a well-known bridge in a larger metropolitan area. So when people are walking close to this giant bridge, they can use their phone and they can essentially reskin a giant traffic bridge.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, that's the best marketing nowadays. I think it shows you're putting
Fun
real
stuff.
thought into it,
Yeah.
and then it creates those experiences. That's like, oh, I didn't just see a commercial I liked. Like, how many commercials have you seen today? It's like I got to decorate a landmark of some sorts. So super cool. Brady, sorry, you've been kind of quiet. I've been cutting you off a little bit. You want to say anything?
No, you're good. I'm taking in all this alpha. This is amazing. But no, what we're talking about right now really makes me think of, for example, like the AR capabilities and functions that Nike put in for trying on sneakers and stuff like that. Even as something as like, glasses and sunglasses company using a similar feature in that way where you can test it out. I mean, right now there's not like an ownership part of that at the moment, of course, from like the AR standpoint, but it's without a doubt, taking those steps further, just making that experience more personal and probably more likely to buy or whatever it may be in the end, sign the contract for it or whatever it may be. But no, it was making me think specifically of the Nike example because that is huge. And then, when they partnered with Artifact and started working more with those shoes as well, it kind of just expanded that. And for those of you who don't know, Artifact is it's a NFT studio. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's called a studio. They got very hot in the beginning from their NFT sneakers, and Nike partnered with them and started rolling out the AR capabilities with that. Things like CloneX.
I believe that Nike actually purchased them as well. So
they did.
Artifact is a branch of Nike, and those guys actually work directly with them. And the first piece that they popped off with that Brady mentioned, the CloneX, that artwork is done by Murakami, which is the guy who did the Kanye album covers like Graduation. He's got a famous art style in like the Complex Con scene and a lot of that streetwear stuff. Super famous artist overall.
Big time.
If anyone in the audience has a question they want to get off real quick, we'll probably be wrapping up soon. So ask away. And by ask away, I mean put a hand up. We got
Brady, our resident NFT expert. So if we have any NFT news or if Brady has anything on his mind that is NFT related, feel free, Brady. And then I'm not an expert in anything, so don't take anything I say for real.
And privacy, NFT, general markets.
And mineyour.biz is an expert in security overall, I think, and he's not security overall, marketing, but I mean he's security minded.
Very private marketing.
Exactly, security marketing. There you go.
Yeah, right. Don't buy our client stuff. But wait.
Yep. Perfect.
Let's go to Otavia. And I'm assuming Paris, that means you're in Paris, or that's your name or something, I don't know. Don't show anything, or else I'll kick you real hard.
I've seen him do it.
Yeah. Give us one question. Hello. Where are you coming from? What do you love? Nice.
And I just wanted to comment quickly on what has been said on CloneX. So it's like an artifact project. It's not initiated by Nike. It's really Artifact, and they did it like before, like being integrated into Nike. And also Murakami, it's a drip. It's a trait which involves like specificities, which means that artifacts, for instance, are very active with creators, and they incentivize people to develop their own avatars based on the PFPs. Yet you can't do it if you have a Murakami PFP, because that is considered as fine art. So it's not the whole collection that is a Murakami.
And perfect.
It's only traits which make them more valuable, but then you have restrictions in terms of use.
Perfect. Nice. Thank you for correcting. Seriously, guys, like I said, I'm not an expert in anything, and Brady, although he is the NFT expert, this stuff is everything happens so much that we love connecting with the audience and getting really these corrections as well, because definitely want to make sure we're pointing that out.
No expert here, just a degen. So whatever that's
Also,
worth.
not financial advice. I'll tell you. Do you have any other questions? I don't know.
Insert disclaimer here.
Exactly.
Thank you for clearing that up, though. I followed you, so we would love to see you on
Cool.
some of the upcoming spaces. I'll DM you when we're live. I know the time zone might be different, but cool, awesome.
Indeed.
Anybody else want to get live and direct in front of the biggest audience to ever exist in all of the
Well,
world? And yeah.
I'll tell you one thing.
Okay,
That
one thing.
it's interesting to talk about CloneX right now because you think about when CloneX dropped, what the NFT market was like in terms of what was being built and what buyers wanted or what buyers expected, and what you look at the NFT market is right now and what's dropping. It feels like it's night and day. Not necessarily from an artwork standpoint or integrity standpoint, but honestly, what we were talking about before, the marketing. It is night and day how a project, what their go-to-market strategy is. I mean, I would say the hottest thing right now is a free mint and full CCO rights to all holders. You're seeing it just churn out like
Ooh, we could talk
hundreds.
about that.
Yeah, if
Because
anyone has any thoughts
what's
on
the
it.
Moonbird drama? So I guess Moonbird released their Creative Commons, and then now I guess like if you go and put up a collection called Moonbird 2, OpenSea will still take it down, even though they say that you have the rights. So I don't
Yeah,
understand now what this whole, and the fact that they can change the rights midway is actually the more concerning part. Because what prevents
it's
them from changing them after?
that to your second point. I think that's a question that a lot of people are having because like Moonbirds and a lot of other projects will, they'll mint their project out and then decide at a point like, okay, we'll do full CCO. Or I was in a Discord the other day and they were asking mods like, "It's this CCO?" And they're like, "I don't know. We'll
Can
ask
you define
what the
CCO real
founder."
quick?
Creative Commons Zero. So basically,
Gotcha.
it gives you the
It's like public
rights.
domain, I think, at that point.
Exactly. For public or commercial use, you don't need to ask for permission to use it. And it's used in so many different projects that take that on. There's definitely still some that don't. But yeah, to your point, Brandon, there was a lot of drama there, especially with it being midway through. I mean, that was a really expensive mint as well. And then it kind of sparked this whole debate, which was actually pretty interesting on like the CCO devalue an NFT. Like, what's the point if anyone can still use it for their own artwork? And you see artists, for example, like Xcopy, who is a one-of-one artist. They are a basically an OG one-of-one artist. They made Right Click and Save as a Guy, which sold for $7 million last year. All of their work is CCO, a collection of millions and millions of dollars. So it's a really interesting conversation and debate that honestly goes on what's valuable, what makes value, what devalues something, and it also brings in all these questions about ownership. What does it mean to actually own something, and what does it mean to have the right to just use it? So it's a very interesting time right now for NFTs, honestly.
Yeah, I love that. I
As it's
love the
been.
CCO license. I love the idea of that because you already have a little bit of a technical hurdle and problem with having the IPFS URI, right? So
Exactly.
the pot of gold at the end of the blockchain rainbow is just that JPEG that's over on IPFS, which is cool. But I mean, if you just tell people like, oh yeah, and you can have the rights, like what do they, go ahead and right click it.
Totally.
Don't care. Like now what?
Exactly. It's a really interesting debate, and it's honestly sparked like so many movements of other one-of-one artists that are using these either one-of-one art, for example, from Xcopy, or using Moonbirds, or using there's using Goblin Town, like other CCO projects. Max Payne, just it's interesting because it sparks so much other work that people actually selling out projects too.
100%.
Pepe is probably the biggest example of that, used like since 2016 in NFTs across the web. You could find Pepe art just in every single corner of NFTs.
Ooh, good example, Brady. Good stuff.
Yeah, little OG.
So we just brought up Sam Borgi, guys. We got senior business editor over here at Cointelegraph. Everyone pay respects. We need some hearts in the spaces.
Also, click everybody's face that's speaking. Give them a follow because they'll probably give you very fun stuff, but not really financial advice. I mean, but very fun tweets.
We can guarantee entertainment.
We can guarantee entertainment. What's going on, Borgie? What's
going on, guys?
What's the news, man?
You want news? You want good news? You want bad news? Or you want
just the top one?
The top news. Well, I don't know if you've heard about what's going on with Tornado Cash these days. I don't know if you guys heard that.
The segment a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I heard.
Oh no, I was
But-
way early to the whole Tornado Cash thing. I was bashed by those guys last month when I wrote about them. So, you know, I guess you can say we were ahead of our time.
There's the tea right there.
Well, I mean, I think it was a long time coming, right? I think I'd always been very intrigued by their service offering, if we can call it a service offering, you know. But it was eventually going to attract some unwanted attention with the regulators. So, and it seems like it's happened.
It does seem so. Unless Borgie, you have any more opinions, I was gonna wrap things up unless anybody has another question or thoughts on the panel. That's how you say panel with a nice accent.
Well, Sam, you heard that talk about NFT like licensing and stuff, right? What do you think about? I know you are a markets person at heart, but do you have any opinions on the switching of creative licenses mid-project, basically?
It sounds kind of shady, doesn't it? I mean,
is there a reason why it wouldn't be shady?
No, I mean, the fact that we're in the space is shady enough, but that's you know.
You're at the hands of the creators in so many different ways. You know, like you sign off in your wallet, you purchase and you own it. But then, you know, what role do you really have past that? If a founder wants to leave, or if a founder wants to release all creative rights, it's kind of like revealing a lot.
I like that model, right? Like, I'd rather the project release the rights instead of slowly rug you over the course of like over time with this like kind of dangling the Discord and it's coming, new stuff soon, roadmap soon, blah blah blah.
Totally.
Like, I would much rather just get the cord cut like that, right? But at the end of the day, like, it just sucks because like the fact that you can change it is the part where like I don't know if there's a legal, like, is there something in the United States where if it goes CC0 you can't go back, and like that there is a protection there that I'm unaware of? I think I might need to do some more research on that to see if there's a way to retrieve something from the public domain after you've released it, like catch and release.
Well, there's definitely been precedent of that.
Clear.
Yeah, in some of the like traditional media, there's been precedent of stuff that was. I mean, Mickey Mouse is the prime example.
Yeah.
That guy should have been public domain like 50 years ago, practically. Maybe not quite, closer to like 30 or 40. But I mean, there's no good reason, according to American IP law, that Disney should own Mickey Mouse anymore. Actually, so like,
and it just so happens
right
that
now?
The statute of limitations on that keeps getting pushed back, and they keep getting it every 5 years when they like lobby for our government. So very interesting and convenient how that happens.
Yeah, so
wasn't there?
So if anybody in the audience can manage to please go get Mickey Mouse and force him to be CCO, that'd be awesome. Thanks.
Wasn't there a cartoon IP that recently went public? Wasn't it not Disney?
Oh, I don't know.
It could be. I'll check into that. But yeah, I'm gonna do research on the CCO guys. So on our next space, maybe I'll have some education on that. But yeah, I think it's interesting, and I think good overall kind of banter today. I think we're just trying to do these more frequently. So if you guys are in the space now, let's just drop a like, drop a follow, and join us whenever you see these spaces, because we're trying to make these a really cool kind of tight knit community. We have so many followers on Cointelegraph, and that's not a flex. It's just hard to like connect with the real crypto users who are like, the degens like us, who are the actual people who are in it day to day and aren't just, watching from the outside. So definitely, connect with us on here, bring your good questions, and really looking forward to more of these.
And if you are watching from the outside, there's also very educational content where you will not be perturbed if it is all insider baseball.
Yeah, there's no stupid questions too, and I think that's definitely where when people come into these spaces, you can definitely tell. Like the first space we did, someone asked, "Where do you start in crypto?" And I think that only helps us create better content, because if you're asking good questions, we know what people are wanting. So again, appreciate everyone coming into the space.
If everybody put a heart emoji in the space, and then I'll pick someone with the heart emoji, and I'll give them a like from the main account. Not supposed to be doing that, but don't tell anybody. And I'll do that as a parting goodbye to this space. I choose you.
That's so nice of you, Ricker.
Yeah, very, very nice. Thanks for everyone for listening. We probably, you guys want to do Monday?
Yeah, we'll play it by ear, but I want to say, mind your biz. You're welcome on these spaces anytime, man. Just come up, request speaker if you want to add some value, and we really do appreciate your time and coming on here and adding some expertise because, having the guests that actually know what they're talking about is definitely more educational than us just doing the little banter.
Man, my pleasure. We seek to entertain, but it's always nice when we can actually educate too, right? That's what I'm all about. Thanks for having me. This has been great.
All right, y'all. Thanks, everybody. Adios.
Have a good one, y'all.